How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. First and foremost, I like to thank Melanated Magic TV for the email. I have never heard of this guy. This is one of these stories that's literally slipped my radar. It happened a few years ago, and I got some things to read to you and a few videos, and I had to get a clear picture. Who is this? Who is this brother? You know? And so here it says, because I want to shape your frame of mind first, who this person is. Emanuel K. Samson kills 25-year-old. Kills one, injures six at Tennessee church shooting. The immigrant shooter from Sudan would not have entered America under President Trump travel ban. Okay, share if you agree with President Trump's travel ban. You know, they really want to make the face of all this stuff look like you and I. And these are the types of things, these type of actions frightens the enemy, because he don't have the same mindset that we have, and been, you know, even though in Akibalan our folks have been oppressed, but it's just, you know, it's just a different continent, you know, and they have different experiences, you know. They still get to see more of their faces, even though Akibalan has literally been raped of her precious minerals, and they continue to do it. Anybody that got any money, because you know China's over there raking the coals too as well. But anyhow, I just wanted to establish that. So let's continue on. He didn't put on a lot of weight too. He used to be he had a nice physique, but he didn't put on some weight. They poisoned him in there. That's how I'll say it, in them jails. Suspect intended to kill at least 10 white church goers, prosecutors said, and his trial is underway as we speak. So a prosecutor said Monday that a black man charged with fatally shooting a woman and wounding 7 people at a Nashville church aimed to kill at least 10 white churchgoers and cite a 2015 massacre at a black church in South Carolina. Nashville Deputy District Attorney Amy Hunter made the comments during opening statements in the trial of Emanuel K. Samson, 27. Prosecutors have said they are seeking life without parole for Samson, who faces a 43-count indictment, including first-degree murder charges in the September 2017 shooting at Barnett Chapel Church of Christ. Samson's attorney, Jennifer Lynn Thomas, countered that Samson's true intention was to kill himself. He left a suicide note for his girlfriend, sent a goodbye video to his cousin, according to Thompson's. Members of the church packed the courtroom, at times becoming emotional when attorneys and witnesses recount a Sunday filled with chaos, tragedy, heroism. The shooting rampage killed 38-year-old Melina L. Crow of Tennessee. She was shot in the church parking lot and dropped her Bible and notes from a recently concluded worship ceremony that had just concluded. Hunter said Samson, who used to attend the church, is black and the victims are white. Hunter explained that a note in Samson's car cite white supremacist Dylan Roof massacre at a church in Charleston, South Carolina in 2015. It also referenced the red, black, and green Pan-African flag, sometimes called RBG. Dylan Roof is less than nothing, the note red, Hunter said. The blood that 10 of you kind will shed is that of the color upon the RBG flag in terms of, what is that word? Vengeance, excuse me. I had a brain fart. Vengeance. The note included an expletive and ended with a smiley face, Hunter said. All right. So, now we understand what's going on. And let's listen to this first video. This fool is on the phone, and they recording all his calls, and he knows it. So let's hear what they have, what's being said. Okay, here we go with this shit. Let's refresh it and see what we got going.
Tonight, for the first time, we hear from the accused Antioch church shooter.
Emanuel Samson is charged with killing one and injuring 6 others. He's locked up, but makes phone calls from his cell, and all of them are recorded.
News Channel 5's Nick Barris obtained an exclusive copy of those calls, and they provide a first look at the mindset of the accused murderer.
25-year-old Emanuel Samson is being held right here at the Davidson County Jail, and he has said very little to police, but he is doing plenty of talking by telephone, and all of those calls inside the jail are recorded. We have copies of those calls. Take a listen.
This honestly reminds me of our childhood. You're locked in a room or in a house. Hey, real shit, bro. You're locked in a room, locked in your house.
Samson's now spent the past month in the county jail, held without bond, and in this call, he seems to be settling in.
You know, it's about meditating on the fact that, hey, I literally can't afford to not be strong, period. You know what it's about? And that's by any means necessary.
Samson's made more than 140 calls in the past month, mostly collect to friends and family. It seems he's been warned by his attorney not to talk about his case, though he may, at times, speaking in what sounds like his native Sudanese. So, Samson won't discuss the murder of Melanie Crow Smith or the other potential felony charges to come. In conversations, especially with a girlfriend, both she and Samson seem oblivious to the seriousness of the charges against him.
Please dream about me, baby. I'm dreaming about you every night. It's like, oh, baby, we had so many plans for our future, you know?
We still do.
Plans,
Still
baby.
do. Don't say we did. You still do. I'm trying to keep my mind positive.
There were reports that Samson was suicidal in the months before the shooting at Burnett Chapel Church of Christ. In one call, Samson talked about the gunshot wound he suffered to the leg during a scuffle with the church usher. There was a lot of blood. He thought he might die.
When that happened, did you think, okay, this is it, I'm leaving, this is it?
Yeah.
Did it feel good?
Did what feel good? Leaving?
I guess to think that you were, yeah.
In a sense, in a way, in terms of pain, you know.
Investigators have pointed to Samson's troubled past. Samson himself talked about something he called vibrating energies, referring to a depressing childhood.
Yeah, that's how we have these low vibrating energies within us now, about the depressive, the sad, the sorrow, because we grew up in a very low vibrating household, always drama.
Samson also talked on the phone about everything from his favorite video games to how a friend was doing in school. Not once did I hear him tell a family member or friend that he was responsible for this horrible crime. In Nashville, Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
The case against Samson is now in the hands of the grand jury.
Okay, my royal family. So, what's concerning them, the enemy, is his mindset. Remember, he's not from this country, you know? And I feel, what I'm feeling is we're going to see more of this, because all we've been watching is the enemy. They've been violating us the day we hit this soil, day one. As I speak, somebody is always fucking with us, and they're used to us being passive. That's the only way I can keep it core, and it boggles the enemy's mind when they know the atrocities. They know what they continue to do. All the stuff that they put on the law books. They've been doing this shit since, unquote, slavery was over with. That form of slavery. There's different forms of it. You know, we still have those mental shackles. We are not free. But then you'll have a person who comes to this country to look like you and I and had a different experience, and they have a different way they look at the enemy, because 9 times out of 10, when our brothers and sisters are intact in other regions, they will deal with your ass. So he's feeling some kind of way like, y'all could just let this go down. And so the enemy is very nervous about this, and they don't want this type of stuff catching on. We tired of being pushed to the brink. We fucking tired. And then when they listen in on the phone calls, they shocked of how oblivious they is to the whole thing. Even though they may talk about it, there's no emotions around it. That is the side effects of America. This unquote shithole. We all up in this together. You know, even though the enemy acting like they above, this is nothing more than a cesspool. So there's going to be side effects of this disgusting ass place. Now it here says here on this meme, the one on the left walked into a church with a gun and shot up several churchgoers. The uproar is yet to die down. The one on the right walk into a church, shoot up several churchgoers, were yet to hear a word from the media. Well, what I disagree with this, I understand what they're saying, but they don't want this to be an uproar. They rather hide it, you know, not put a whole lot on it. But I'm telling the enemy, the ones who sneak over here, you cannot stop prophecy. You cannot continue to abuse Yah's royals, his children. It hurts them, and think you're gonna get a pass, and we have been punished for our misdeeds too as well. We just happen to be in a space and time where officially in August our 400 years is over. But isn't it amazing what we are seeing? Our folks is done and tired. So let's listen on to this next video here. We're gonna get the same effect. Look at her mouth.
Shocking revelations about the accused Antioch church shooter. The suspect, this guy, Emanuel Samson, spends hours on the phone behind bars. We obtained exclusive recorded copies of those calls. So what have we learned? News Channel 5's Nick Barra says one call may reveal what sparked the shooting and that Samson is about to become a father.
It's interesting. Samson's public defenders don't want his recorded conversations made public. They filed for an injunction here at the courthouse. We challenged it, and the motion was denied. I have a right to those public records. You have a right to hear those phone calls, and Samson, as you're about to hear, has a right to new attorneys.
Hello?
Emanuel Samson is charged with killing Melanie Crow Smith and injuring 6 others in a shooting at Burnett Chapel Church of Christ in Antioch last month. Since then, he's been represented by the Metro Public Defender's Office.
When you find a lawyer, call it.
But in this phone call, he and his girlfriend discuss finding a new legal team, and she claims lawyers are lining up.
It's a well-known case. It's public. It's just they know they're going to get a lot of publicity from taking the case, and they're just waxing, honestly.
I didn't know, not into the severity, but I didn't know the limelight that was shown on this weekend's case of mine.
Samson talks of hoping to get out of jail soon on bond. The reason? He's about to become a father.
This is your first child. I don't want you to miss out. on anything. And I don't want to do this without you, baby. You are coming home, baby. You coming home.
I know I am. Hey, like I said, by any means, baby. That's a damn sure. Or die trying.
That is one of several times over many conversations on the phone that Samson refers to dying. There were reports that he was suicidal in recent months. Here, Samson talks about an argument he had with his girlfriend that led him to drive away from their home the morning of the church shooting.
Everything about that day, it's like, man, dude, it's like, to say that I would be a fool to like leave you.
Seeing you in a way saying goodbye to the kids. It was just the gestures you were doing, the way, the things you were saying. You were saying goodbye.
But you know what? You're right, though. Yes, that is exactly what I was saying to them or whatever.
So, does that mean Samson planned to leave home, go shoot up a church, and then possibly take his own life? There's little doubt that these recorded conversations will become part of his trial, and a jury will ultimately decide. In Nashville, Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
Samson's attorneys are still seeking to block further release of any jailhouse phone calls claiming the content hurts their client's right to a fair trial. We do have them all, and Nick will be back with more stories. But as of today, a judge blocked the release of any more calls to other media.
All right, my royal family. So, now we are in the present. And this is the email that I got. And we're going to hear this guy testify and hear what he has to say.
As soon as he had passed me going up the main aisle, I had got up and started following right behind him. And as soon as I was an arm's length away, I remember reaching down and trying to grab his firearm. And I ended up grabbing his leather jacket and ripping it around the cuff. He had then turned around and pistol whipped me. I can recall between 3 to 5 times on the top of my head. After he had pistol whipped me, this was towards the vestibule now. I had dropped down to my knees and scurried into the right side of the pews and hid in between there. From there, his back was towards the vestibule, and he had walked all the way back up towards the pulpit. And I was peeking up from between the two pews, and that is whenever I'd seen him coming back towards the vestibule again. And I had stood up in front of him. I remember standing up in front of him, and he extended his arm, and the only thing I can remember is I just shoved my left arm out in front of him, and then I heard a gunshot, and we had stood there for what seemed like an eternity. I looked down at myself and I looked up at him, and then he fell down to the floor.
Okay, my royal family, let's put this on mute. Want anything to pop up? So I will be putting this article in, and I'm just astounded at how his appearance has drastically changed. It is quite a bit to read that you see here. So y'all can read it at your leisure. And wanted to see something here before I close out. Just to show you how this brother was built. Look at that. Look at that. He totally changed in there. Like I said, he being poisoned in that jail. And maybe it's here on the other one that I'm looking for, because they had some more information about him. And as I'm looking, hopefully I can find it. As I was doing my research, I was saying this is the kind of shit that frightens them. They don't want our kings going off on a very high percentage level. They'll stop all wars they have around the world to deal with us. So we got 5 facts. I like checking this out real quick. I didn't take the time to research this. Let me see here. It's already, this is the lady that was killed. Let's see here. So all I see here is that 2 critical patients suffered gunshot wounds to their chest and torso. The 4 other patients suffered gunshot wounds in their extremities. And okay, the 7th shooting victim was hospitalized at another medical facility. His or her condition is not known. And the usher who was pistol whipped after confronting, that's who was on the stand, confronting the shooter, was also hospitalized with a head injury that is non-life threatening, according to the police. So, let's see here. Okay, they name all the people that were shot. Said he came in with a ski mask. That's what they're claiming. Okay, we got a 911 call. Well, I'm gonna play that before we get off. Let me check here. Is there anything that's catching my eye? I just don't want to keep repeating and going over the same stuff. Okay, so let's listen to the 911 and then I'm done.
Just calling. East Dispatch, all yes. Be advised, we've got an active shooter out of South 3891 Pinhook, 3890 Pinhook, Burnett Chapel Church. At this time, we've got multiple patients. Got a suspect wearing a clown mask. Still going to be active. Be advised, South here is closed. Switch over countywide for further. Time is 11:20. Go to the traffic supervisor. What? I'm only going to be a few minutes late. I'm here at the 4024 split, and it's just creeping along. Who are you? Job, J-O-B-E. Sure. And I'm the back here. 725 Avenue Ramp.
All right, my royal family, ain't nothing being said. So, I don't want to drag this out, but what I'll do, because it's 11 minutes, I will put, there's 2 articles I want y'all to check out, so I'll put that in there as well. So, mainly, it's back to, they tripping off of his mindset, and like I said, because it's going to continue to happen, folks get at their breaking point, and we're literally so pushed up against the wall. It's just extremely painful to continue to watch us be massacred. You know, we just seen our queen that was literally massacred. 5 bullets. I mean, that was so horrific in a split second. 5 bullets. They quiet as a church mouse. So, you know, this ain't gonna go away. Like many things, America, like many, many things. You want to ignore the weather. You want to be dismissive. Babylon is falling on the world stage. Your leadership shows your true nature, and y'all sanction us being slaughtered in the streets of America. When wars pop up, You want us to be the first on the front line. Then when we get back home, it's business as usual. Them days is over with. Totally over with. Because we know how greasy you get down. We really do. And you want us to have sympathy and empathy when one of our own go the fuck off. I ain't saying I'm condoning it one way or the other, but I understand. I can understand when somebody got their foot up your ass around the clock. You can't fucking breathe. You literally can't even exist. They calling cops for you literally existing. Everything done with us is always done to the 10th power. Pretty much it, my royal family. So, my royal family, render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.